Okay. So let me do one thing.
Yes.
They can see me, and
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
if I have to turn the camera, turning the camera.
Yes, ma'am.
না আপনাকে একদম ক্লিয়ার দেখা যাচ্ছে ম্যাডাম।
Okay. I just want to turn the camera. I don't see the option to turn the camera. Flip camera. Okay, I got it. Okay. So you can see the presentations this way.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. So that's okay. So okay, we'll go about it with that right now. So let's start the class. So thank you so much. So let me start with the class.
ওয়েলকাম ম্যাম, প্লিজ
আসছে না
কন্টিনিউ।
তো?
ম্যাম এখন বন্ধ রেখেছেন বাবা।
Yeah, I
Ma'am.
just switched it off because I can't see you. So I just, yeah,
ম্যাম বন্ধ করেছেন, ম্যাম আবার স্টার্ট করবেন।
yeah.
হ্যালো স্যার, বলছি ম্যামের স্ক্রিনটা বড় করব কি করে? বড় করা যাচ্ছে না স্ক্রিনটা।
আচ্ছা তুমি কিসে দেখছো, কম্পিউটারে না মোবাইলে?
আমি ল্যাপটপে দেখছি স্যার।
আচ্ছা দেখো ল্যাপটপে একদম
স্ক্রিনটা বড় হচ্ছে না।
বলছি যারা কম্পিউটার ও ল্যাপটপ থেকে অন হয়েছো তারা দেখো একদম উপরে ভিউ এভরিওয়ান একটা অপশন এনাবেল আছে,
ইয়েস স্যার।
ক্লিক
Sir.
করো, ড্রপ ডাউন অ্যারোতে ক্লিক করে অ্যাক্টিভ ক্যামেরাস সিলেক্ট করো।
স্যার এবার দেখতে পাচ্ছি স্যার। থ্যাংক ইউ স্যার।
Thank you, sir.
হ্যাঁ, ওকে ওয়েলকাম ম্যাম, প্লিজ কন্টিনিউ।
Okay. So hi, good morning, everybody.
Morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
Okay.
Good morning,
I'm,
ma'am.
I'm going to take your soft skill sessions from today. Before we start, I have to tell you a few things, okay? So to start with, it would be really nice if we can see each other, because this is not a maths or chemistry class, right? Like I give you a formula and you write it all by yourself. So it is very important that we look at each other, because it's all about your personal grooming. Second thing is, I'm going to talk in English, but if you have a problem in understanding where I am, understanding my language, or
video lag করছে।
not,
No, ma'am. No problem.
yeah, if you still
No
have a
problem.
problem, you should
Ma'am,
always
that is
come forward, tell me, and I want all of you to talk to me, okay? Don't sit quiet. It doesn't matter whichever language, Hindi, Bengali, I know and understand all the languages, so I want you all to talk, because if you don't talk, I will not be able to help you out. It's a necessary rule. I'll try to log in from this thing in between when I give you some activity, but as of now we can start with the phone. So you all can hear me properly?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You can do one thing, like do you have this chat option you can write over here? So if there,
Yes, ma'am.
you all can
Yes, ma'am.
messages, so that we are also talking, we know, because if 77 people start talking, then we'll have no option. So we're going to start with communication today. So before that, I want to know that, so when I tell you all to start talking, if you have a background noise, make sure that you're muted, or reduce that sound, go to a place where you can be heard properly. Fine?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Great. And I'm very happy that you all are responding. That's the best quality. I can assure you, if you keep listening to me like that, you're going to end up doing really very nice. So let's start with communication today. So I'm going to present the slides like that because of this issue today. So to start with, how many of you all know about communication? So let's go one by one. So tell me, what do you understand by communication? Very short, okay, very quick.
To communicate each other, to express
What
our
that
feeling.
express?
Communicate each other with mobile, laptops, and everything.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else?
Communicate each other with verbally or non-verbally.
Okay. So who was that?
Hello, ma'am. To
Ma'am, the act of
communicate.
exchanging ideas and feelings with each other.
Great, web of, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Who
We
said
can
verbal,
share
non-verbal?
the ideas to others.
Sorry? Say it again.
We can share our ideas to others and give and take their ideas for this communications.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So most of you know the concept that communication is basically sending an idea to someone and getting an idea, exchange of ideas, thoughts, transmitting your views. So how do you do that? What are the things that you need to do that?
Ma'am, PCs, phones, laptops, and all.
That's the medium. Okay. What else?
Yeah.
No, I mean, like when you're talking, let's talk about one-on-one conversation. Okay. Like I am talking
Okay.
to one of you, say X,
Yes.
Y, Z. X is talking to Y. So what X and Y should have?
Hello, ma'am. Hello, ma'am.
Specific
Yes.
language.
Ma'am, there are
And we
five
have
types of
social
communication.
media.
Communicate simple. What? Communication simple words. Communicate, na?
Sorry, what?
Communication simple word. Communicate. So,
Okay, simple is communicate. Yes. But what's wrong with me? What I'm asking you is, when you have X, say I'm there and there's some other sir, he's there, and I have to talk to sir, what are the two things we should have?
A specific
it's
language.
common language medium.
Language comes, okay, language, of course, you will need a language. Do you think that all the time when you communicate, you need a language?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
So
Yes,
what do
ma'am.
you do? How do you communicate that?
Ma'am,
Ma'am,
we
there are
have
five
also
types of
communicated
communication.
sign language, like dumb people are doing it. Sign
Okay.
language.
Exactly, yes. Sign language is there, they are also communicating. So the purpose of me to tell you this was, in communication, it is not only about talking, it's also about you representing an idea or feeling or a thought through language, through your expression, through your gestures, through your written communication. So these are the mediums to communicate. Right, where you send your information.
Yes, ma'am.
Like now,
Yes,
right
ma'am.
now we are talking.
Yes, ma'am.
So I am sending a message to you, and you are receiving that message, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
It's
Yes, ma'am.
now the how easily we said that, right? But most of the time, what happens is a lot of people loses the communication cycle. I will explain you the cycle, but before that, I want you all to view this. So can you see this, right? Here they talk about it's like the transmission of an idea or a feeling, so that the sender and the receiver shares the same understanding. Now here, this word is very important, understanding. Okay, because why I said that? Because what happens, so in the next cycle where you get to understand what communication process is. So now I'm going to explain you the process. I will show you this slide, but I want you to write down something that I'm going to tell you, since we do not have a board here. So I'm just trying to tell you through this. So can you all see this? This is the process.
Yes, ma'am.
The process of the communication. Okay, this is the whole cycle. Now, before this, it goes to more complications. Let me make it very simple to you all. Please listen to me carefully, okay? Now, this is me who is sending a message to you all. So I am talking to you. So what happens in between this cycle? So whatever I, yes. Who was that? Say that again. Okay, let me continue. So I am talking to you. The first thing that I'm doing is my sound. So what are you doing? Sound reaching you. What is that happening to you then? What do? You?
I'm just receiving your voice,
And
Suman.
hear and understand.
Yes, you listening. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So the first process is listen. You are listening to me. What is the next process? After listen, what happens?
We understand.
Yes, we understand. So the third process is you understand. Right? After understanding, what happens?
We speak.
We give a reply.
Reply.
Sorry?
We
We give a
reply.
reply.
We give the answer
Right.
to the people.
Okay. Yeah, that is called
We will
feedback.
try to reply, ma'am.
Yes. A little more of that is there. After you understand, you try to comprehend. What do you mean by comprehend? Like with your own perception, in your own. Suppose I tell you something, you might understand it in your own way, with your own belief system. You're getting what I mean is, আমি যেটা বোঝাতে
ma'am.
চাইছি সেটা you might not be able to understand. You might understand something that you don't understand, right? So there is a gap on there. So after you understand, only then you react according to your understanding, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes,
And
ma'am.
then
Yes, ma'am.
it comes back to me, and there I give you back a feedback. Right now, like when I've been talking to you.
Ma'am, sound আসছে না.
Ma'am, you're not audible, ma'am.
Ma'am, your voice not
Ma'am,
coming
you are
us.
not audible.
Ma'am, your sound is not coming.
Ma'am, you're not
Can you hear me
audible.
now? Can you hear me now?
Ma'am,
Yes,
now
ma'am.
it's
Yes,
audible,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Now audible, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Now you can hear it.
Okay. Can you hear me now, all of you?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So the whole process goes on. Like I encode means I share the message. You listen. So after the message is given, you listen. Then the person understands. Then the person comprehends. And then the person reacts.
Represent.
And then finally there is a feedback from the messenger, right? Like when you, so let's go one by one. You understood the process? You want to write it down? So you write the message, then you write listen, then you write understand, then you write comprehend, and then you write react, and then that is the feedback. Now look at this chart. So here, if the sender is sending the message, so this is listening, then here it should be understanding, then you are comprehending, and then you are sending back the message.
Hello, ma'am. Hello.
Okay?
Hello, ma'am.
Hi, who's this? Twinkle.
What means of feedback?
What means, sorry?
What means of feedback?
জবাব দেওয়া.
Feedback. Okay, feedback means to suppose like when you're asking me, I'm saying that did you understand? And you said yes. So you're giving me a feedback that you understood. Yes, somebody said jawab dena. Yes, a kind of you respond back. that you understood.
Okay.
So suppose if I tell you that there is suppose I say that to make chicken first you have to make a paste of garlic, onion and tomato, and then you have to put the chicken. Did you understand? So you can also ask back. So did you say garlic, garlic and onion? Okay, yes, I understand. So you're asking back. So you're giving a feedback. Or else it's like, did you like the class? You would say that, yeah, I liked it, but I think there was a problem in the language, or there was a problem in this particular topic. So you're giving a feedback so that you are clear with your conversation. We'll come to all this one by one. So let's start again from the beginning. This cycle is clear, all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, I will tell you how difficult people have made this communication. How easily you came and said, right? Like, ma'am, communication means to the exchange of ideas, feelings. Then why in so many places we are lacking in the understanding part? What we are lacking in communication. Why? Because there are a lot of defaults in this cycle. And when you are communicating, you have to be sure of the things. You have to keep all these factors in your mind, that these are the things. So let's start from the beginning. So here I am sending a message and you're listening. What do you think can be a barrier? How do you think that because of this, what other things can affect? Suppose you're listening, but a person might not be able to hear you properly. Like right 5 minutes back when you started telling me, ma'am, I can't hear you, you're not audible, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Yes. So most of the time, a person can break the communication cycle right in the beginning. When you are not audible enough. Second, there can be an interference. Third, there can be language you don't understand.
Ma'am, your sound was continuously amplifying.
My sound?
Amplifying.
Ma'am, your sound is
आपका
echoing.
sound amplify करते.
Yeah, I don't know. Is that okay now?
No,
Yeah,
ma'am.
It's good,
Now
ma'am.
it's clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
It's okay now. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
এখন ঠিক আছে?
Is that okay now?
Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. So exactly this is what you did right now, was the first process of the communication cycle. When this was one of the barrier, when I was echoing, I could not, my voice was not reaching enough. Then it can be the accent. Suppose tomorrow you're working in say in Cognizant or TCS, and you have a client who is from Australia. So the people who are from Australia, they have a very hard accent of English, which is difficult to understand. You might break your communication right there. You will not even understand what he's saying. So
Yes, ma'am.
first important part of a communication is you can listen. You all
Yes.
agree to this?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, for example,
Yes,
like
ma'am.
when we go to a interview or say a public speaking, where you are supposed to give a speech in front of the college for your fest. So sometimes it do happen that you're nervous, and your pitch or your volume automatically is a little subtle, right? You don't because you're nervous. So you have to understand that even the psychological factors are also sometimes the barrier of communication process, right?
Yes, ma'am. It
Because-
happens. It happens, ma'am. It happens, ma'am.
Sometimes when you cannot pronounce one particular word, so the volume automatically goes down.
Yes, ma'am. It happens, ma'am.
Yes, so these
Same
are the
situation,
barriers that break the communication cycle. So when it's very important that Sorry? You can't hear me still?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
No, ma'am, you are
Ma'am, your
audible.
video is very audible.
But your voice
No,
is
ma'am.
not clear. Not clear.
Ma'am, it's clear little bit.
Okay. So, so what I'm trying to tell you is, like, when we talk, so all of you understand Bengali here, right? Or Hindi?
Yes,
Yes, ma'am,
ma'am.
Hindi.
Yes, ma'am. Bengali, Hindi, Hindi.
Sure.
Ma'am, three types of
Okay, calm down. So, all I'm trying to say is that when you are talking, you have to make sure.
Ma'am, you are not.
Can you all hear me? শুনতে পাচ্ছ সবাই?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
We can hear you.
Okay. So, you all have to make sure that when you're listening, all these barriers should not affect. It can be a background noise too. Like I'm talking and there is a background noise because I did not unmute. So it is creating a barrier. Again, we are not able to listen. That what I'm saying is the background noise. যে বাইরে আওয়াজ বা আশেপাশের আওয়াজে your message is getting scattered. শোনা যাচ্ছে না. So that means that your communication cycle is breaking right there. Through your language, you're not able to make another person understand. Suppose there is a guy who's Chinese, and you are an Indian who can talk Bengali, Hindi, English, but you can't talk a Chinese language. So the way how you're going to communicate with that person. These are the barriers also, which you have to take care. Today it's very easy because you're talking to your friend. College acho, নিজের বন্ধুদের সঙ্গে কথা বলছো. So you find it easier. You have common people. Common, what I mean is like you don't have a global difference, like cultural difference, a language difference. Is somebody saying something?
Raja, please mute your mic.
Raja, please mute.
Yeah. So this much is clear, all of you. All, are you understanding what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So the first thing is listening. So it's just a tip for you all. What do you all understand by listen and hear? Difference ta ki hocche? What is the difference between listen and hear? I'm listening to my teacher. I just heard a noise.
Listening is something hearing carefully.
Yes. Yes, very good. Very good. Absolutely. When you're talking about something where you're paying attention and listening, that is listening. And listen is always used with listen to. মনে রাখবে যখনই listen use করবে, always say I'm listening to. I'm listening. Her is wrong. Wrong usage of English. You have to say I'm listening to her. Listen এর সঙ্গে সবসময় to use হবে. And listen is used when you attentively মনোযোগ দিয়ে কোনো কথা শুনছো, that is where you use listen. And when you're talking about hear, it's like a casual thing. It's a casual sound that you hear around you. I just heard a noise. Did you hear the noise around here? I overheard you, which means that I did hear you.
A sudden noise, ma'am.
Yes. And have you heard the word over here?
Yes, ma'am.
I
Yes, ma'am.
overheard you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Suppose you're going around in a college, you heard two friends of yours talking, but you don't know what they're talking. You just heard them talking, so you say, "I just overheard them." কিছু কথা ভেসে ভেসে যেটা আসে, that is called overhearing. So, well, that's English. But for you all to understand that first, it was listening. So these were the barriers that you have to take care. Now, the next comes is your after listening, you took care of everything. Now you listened. After listening, what happens was, come on, what happens?
Understand,
What
ma'am.
happens? Yes,
Understanding.
Understand, ma'am.
correct. So you understand. Now, here, understanding can be different with different people. Suppose I say that bring a glass of water. Somebody would bring it in a full glass of water. Somebody might just fill it half. Somebody would just put it in a platter and bring it to you. So with somebody might bring a little warm water, someone might bring refrigerated water, or somebody might just bring it in a steel glass, somebody in a, what I'm trying to say is the understanding pattern is different from each of us, right? When I utter a word, say politics, everybody will have a different understanding of politics, right or wrong?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Right.
Yes, ma'am. Right.
Yeah. So all I mean is, whatever you listen, whatever you understand, understanding depends on your psychology, in your mind that you think. Now, for example, suppose you're working in Cognizant, and somebody told you to initiate a call for an update call. Okay, so for a particular project. Now, every one of you, so all of you, everybody will have a different way of initiating a call according to your understanding. Somebody might send a mail. Am I echoing again?
No, ma'am. No,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
হ্যালো,
Is this
এক্সকিউজ
okay
মি
now?
ম্যাম, আমি
Yes.
প্রিন্সিপাল স্যার বলছি। আমি একটু কমিউনিকেট করতে চাইছি স্টুডেন্টদের সঙ্গে। ম্যাম, এক্সকিউজ মি ম্যাম, 1
Hello.
মিনিট। হ্যাঁ, হ্যালো,
Hello, sir.
হ্যালো, হ্যাঁ স্টুডেন্ট,
Yes, sir.
কি
Yes,
প্রবলেম
sir.
তোমরা ফেস করছো? গ্রুপ
Hello.
স্যার বলো।
ইকো হচ্ছে স্যার। হ্যালো।
কারুর
হ্যালো, কিশোর স্যার।
স্পিকার অন আছে? হ্যাঁ, বলো শুনি।
বলছি না, আমার মাইকটা না বারবার চলে যাচ্ছে। ম্যামের কাছে রিসিভ করছি, মাইকটা প্রেজেন্টেশনটা চলে যাচ্ছে। আমি দেখার পর সত্ত্বেও মানে অ্যাটেন্ডেন্সটা আমার
ওয়ান মিনিট। অর্গানাইজার যে আছে ম্যাডামকে খালি প্রেজেন্টার করবেন। অর্গানাইজার যে আছে তাকে বলছি ম্যাডামকে প্রেজেন্টার করবে। ওকে, এনি আদার প্রবলেম ফ্রম দ্য স্টুডেন্ট সাইড?
নো স্যার।
স্যার ইকো হচ্ছে কথাগুলো
হ্যাঁ স্যার, ইকো হচ্ছে।
কেন
ম্যামের সাউন্ড খুব ইকো হচ্ছে স্যার।
না, ম্যামের সাউন্ড ইকো হচ্ছে না। তোমাদের কেউ স্পিকারে শুনছো জিনিসটাকে? ভালো করে শুনে নাও। তোমাদের কেউ স্পিকার অন করে জিনিসটাকে শুনছো? সেই শোনার জন্য তার সাউন্ডটা মিউট করা নেই, সেই সাউন্ডটা আসছে, ম্যামের সাউন্ড ইকো হচ্ছে না। ভালো করে বোঝো টেকনিক্যালি জিনিসটাকে। ট্রাই টু আন্ডারস্ট্যান্ড ইট ফার্স্ট। समवन आर लिसनिंग थ्रू द स्पीकर। तुम लोग कोई स्पीकर देकर सुन रहे हो, लेकिन উইদাউট মিউটিং ইউর সাউন্ড, মানে সাউন্ডটা মিউট না করে সেটা শুনছো। তাই ম্যাডাম যেটা বলছেন তার স্পিকার থেকে তোমাদের মাইক্রোফোন সেটা ক্যাচ করছে, সেটা আবার আসছে। দ্যাট ইজ দ্য ফল্ট অফ yours. So I am requesting all, please listen it using headphone, and if you use the speaker to make your মাইক্রোফোন মিউট ফর্ম, মানে কেউ যদি তোমরা স্পিকারে শোনো তাহলে মাইক্রোফোনটাকে তোমাদের মিউট করে রাখো, তাহলে এই ইকোটা আসবে না। এটা বুঝে নাও, ঠিক আছে ম্যাম? সরি ম্যাম আপনাকে ডিস্টার্ব করার জন্য। ওকে, থ্যাংক ইউ ম্যাম, থ্যাংক ইউ। ওকে, ইউ ক্যান কন্টিনিউ।
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
থ্যাংক ইউ স্যার।
So we're back.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, ma'am. You talking and
Yes.
listening?
Yes, tell me.
No problem. Yes.
Okay, so now you can look at this one. So like these are the barriers of communication. So we did discuss few of now understanding. I was here in understanding. So before that, I want you all to go through this. So it talks about what are before learning to communicate effectively, we should learn what are the barriers of communication. Right? I just discussed the barriers of listening before, like just now. So it talks about like language differences, information overloaded, like you give too much of information, so you the main information is lost. Inattention, time pressures. Sometimes when you are in a lot of pressure of finishing something, you tend to not give the right information, or you forget, right? Then is your distractions. Okay, complexities, you don't, poor attention, inaccurate interpretation, okay, perceptual differences, linguistic impact. So we'll come to perceptual differences. This comes in understanding. So we all, you will all not understand today probably, or maybe you will, if you were working in different cultural backgrounds, like somebody is from Australia, somebody is from America, somebody is from UK, and you're from India. So for you, Durga Puja might be a very big festival, whereas it might not be a very important festival for some other cultural people, some other people from different country. So how will you how will you bring that across? Means how will you say that ki kore kauke bojabe je that is very important in your culture. So sometimes when you are asked to work on your days of festivals, you tend to lose your temper, your you don't feel good about it, right? So basically the cultural differences. So the understanding is not only, and it is not only limited to your professional place, it's also about the understanding in your personal relationships, personal communication. Now, for example, suppose your mom reacted to something that you did, and you were like, it wasn't that big deal that I have done. এমন কিছু কাজ আমি করিনি, মা এত চেল্লাচিল্লি করছে, my mom is screaming and shouting. But if you have the power of understanding, the ability to understand that what situational conditions she were in, or she was there, and which is why she reacted like that, don't you think the communication would be a much better?
Obviously, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Yeah. So not only with your mom, but it's like around your friends. Suppose a friend of yours comes to you and says that you never told me about this notes. You had this notes with you, and that means you just don't like me. You don't want me to do great in my exams. So probably that should make you upset. But the fact that if you make sure that you're understanding your friend, like what kind of a person he is and in what situation he reacted, these are the things which the breaks the barrier. Basically this psychological factor, a lot of people, you must have seen that there is a difference in your understanding perspective, and then you end up not talking to that person. Do you all agree with me or not? Quite right, in a lot of places.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Each one of us. That is a huge barrier in communication, let me tell you. So we have to understand. It's not only about that what is being said in the lines. It is also said what is said in between the lines. You have to understand the perspective of or the situations in which it is said. So then it comes the third part. So listening, sending a message, then you're listening, and then is your understanding. After understanding, you comprehend. What do you mean by comprehend? Comprehender money. How many of you can tell me the meaning of comprehend?
Ma'am, to understand something completely different, to understand something completely and analyzing it in our mind.
Correct. Very well said. Yes, this is like after understanding, you make a judgment, you come up with a thought, you come up with a complete gathering of information and comprehend it. মানে মাথায় ওটাকে restore করলে যে what I heard, what I understood by this, now you got the whole picture. That is the comprehend. Okay, so and all these things depends on your way of growing up, the way you look at life, the way you treat others, or the kind of person you are. So and that reflects your attitude, because after you comprehend, you react according to what you understand, you comprehend, you react. Like how the example that I was giving you, that you should suppose I come and say, can I have a glass of water? Either you ask me, like, do you need a cold water, do you need a warm water? But suppose if I come in a condition where I'm sneezing and you can see a little cold and coughing, so for example, like I'm coughing, so automatically you understand that I cannot have a refrigerated water, or probably you offer me a little warm water. That is your understanding, and also a gesture. So there is a lot of in a lot of places our reactions are wrong because of our understanding portion, right? Now what happens, like when you listen to one of your colleague, he's not responding the way he is, or he's not, like how many times you must have asked your friends, like what happened, what's wrong with you today, you're not talking too much. Have you come across these things, right? It's basically when you realize of yours.
Yes, ma'am.
So that part of your understanding and comprehending a person or a communication. See, the person is already also communicating. When a person is not talking and comes in the class with a gloomy face, মানে একটু sad হয়ে আসছে and একটুখানি he's down. So looking at that person's face or the way he's talking and sitting, you can figure out, তোমরা বুঝতে পারো, right, that কিছু একটা হয়েছে, that is why he's still communicating even though he's not talking, right? And then when you go and ask, that's the communication starts right from your understanding portion to what you comprehended, and then you react. So react, you go and ask him that, hey, are you fine? Shab thik ache barite? What is going on? So, and then he says that, no, it's okay, don't worry about me. That is feedback. So, did you have a little bit of structural understanding of how communication cycle is, and where
Yes, ma'am.
you all can figure out where do you all miss? Because a lot of people think that I have communicated, I have said, but whether that person has understood what you wanted them to understand, you have to make sure, and that is called feedback. Somebody was asking me what is the meaning of feedback, where you have to make sure a feedback is a kind of questioning, or jawab noy, it's more of questioning, যে আমি যেটা বোঝাতে চেয়েছি সেটা is understood by that person or not. Suppose you give them instructions, right? Like go upstairs, go to the right, then there is a door in the left. Once you enter the door, you will see some racks, and in the second rack you will find that file. Go and bring it. So how do you take a feedback? I communicated, but whether that person understood what I want him to understand, you have to make sure. How will you do that? Are you all getting me? বুঝতে পারছো সবাই?
Yes,
ম্যাম
ma'am.
কোশ্চেন করে
Yes, ma'am.
Question. Correct. So question টা কিরকম করে করবে? How will you question that person?
আমি যেটা বোঝাতে চাইলাম
relative,
সেটা বুঝতে পারলো কিনা।
So
ma'am,
suppose
relative
আমি
to that topic.
okay, so let's do it. Okay, I'm telling you. So you'll go straight, take the left, and when you go to the left, you'll see the stairs climbing up. Climb the stairs upstairs. Go there, and
Hello,
then
ma'am.
you'll find
Hello.
in.
Hello,
Hello.
ma'am. I
Yes.
communicated in relation feedback.
Sorry. আরেকবার বলো কি বলছো?
মানে বলতে চেয়েছি মানে যে আই কমিউনিকেশন ইজ রিলেশন ফিডব্যাক মানে কি চোখের সাথে মানে কথোপকথনটা কি চোখের দেখা সেটাই বলতে চেয়েছেন?
না না, I communicate এখনো we haven't spoken about I. I'm just talking about a simple communication.
ও আচ্ছা আচ্ছা, ওকে।
Did you understand? So, Prinkle, did you understand the cycle of communication? Cycle of communication টা বুঝতে পেরেছো?
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ।
যেখানে আমি একটা মেসেজ দিচ্ছি, যেই পার্সনটাকে মেসেজ দিচ্ছি, যেমন আই এম টকিং টু ইউ, ওকে, আই এম টকিং, আলোকিতা ইজ টকিং টু প্রিঙ্কল। প্রিঙ্কলকে আমি যেটা বলছি, প্রিঙ্কল তুমি সেটা শুনছো, ইউ আর হিয়ারিং ইট, রাইট?
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ, ইয়েস।
ইউ আর লিসনিং টু ইট, তুমি শুনতে পাচ্ছো। শোনার পরে তুমি যে ইয়েস বলছো, তার মাঝখানে তুমি কি করছো? তুমি ওটাকে বুঝতে পারছো, আন্ডারস্ট্যান্ড করছো, তারপরে ওটা নিয়ে ভেবে তুমি বলছো হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ মানে আমি বুঝতে পেরেছি, এন্ড দেন তুমি ওটার রিয়াক্ট করছো, যেরকম তুমি বলছো ইয়েস, রাইট? রাইট প্রিঙ্কল, আনসার মি।
হ্যাঁ, ওকে ওকে,
বুঝতে পারছো? সো এই যে তুমি আমাকে ওকে ওকে বললে, দিস ইজ কল্ড ফিডব্যাক। আমি তোমাকে ক্রস কোয়েশ্চেন করে জিজ্ঞেস করলাম যে ডিড ইউ আন্ডারস্ট্যান্ড, এন্ড ইউ সেড ইয়েস। Getting me? So we are talking about this cycle. Now আমি এখন বোঝাচ্ছি যে what feedback is about. Feedback, now আমি একটা ইনস্ট্রাকশন দিচ্ছি কাউকে। সাপোজ আমি বললাম যে সোজা গিয়ে সিঁড়ি উঠবে, গো টেক দ্য স্টেয়ার্স, গো আপ, তারপরে বাঁদিকে একটা দরজা আছে, ওখানে ঢুকলে রাইট হ্যান্ড সাইডে দেখবে there are racks, সেকেন্ড র্যাকে আমার ফাইলটা রাখা আছে, গো এন্ড গেট ইট। তো আমি তো কমিউনিকেট করে দিলাম, বাট if I have to understand, আমার যদি বুঝতে হয় যে what the other person understood or not, what will you do? কি করবে তখন?
ম্যাম তাকে কোশ্চেন করব।
ওকে, কোয়েশ্চেন করবে। কিরকম করে করবে কোয়েশ্চেন? হাউ উইল ইউ কোয়েশ্চেন? You have done this many times, you must have done this many times. It's just that তখন you're not aware of what you're doing. Haven't you asked কি বুঝলি, আবার বোঝাও আমাকে? Have you not
We
said?
can say that have. Hello.
Yes.
Ma'am, if
Ma'am,
you
we can say
understand,
that
if you
have you got it?
Have you
We
understood?
can
Okay.
simply ask the question, and we will say simply ask the question that have you got it?
Have you got it? Yes. So, or you can ask like, so you understood, right? You have to go straight and take the stairs. Then what? Then what you have to do? So that person answers you. Okay, then I'll take the left. Right? This is how you are taking a feedback and trying to understand whether he understood what you wanted to say. মানে তুমি নিজে বোঝার চেষ্টা করছো যে যেটা তুমি ওকে বোঝাতে চাইছো, that person has understood. Right?
yes, ma'am.
Right.
And this process is called feedback. To take a feedback.
Ma'am, I have a question.
Yes, please. Go
Ma'am.
ahead.
Ma'am, why the teenagers, students have been illegal from bad things?
What? Sorry? আবার বলো।
Why the teenagers have doing bad things like cigarette? That why the teenagers has going to bad things way?
Well, these are perceptions, right? Suppose
This is not our topic
if
today.
correct, and we are not talking about it, but it's the perception. ভুল ঠিকটা খুবই relative ব্যাপার, যেটা তোমার জন্য ভুল হতে পারে may not be ভুল for many of them. So the point here is, this is what I was telling, your understanding. So if you see a person, of course, smoking, drinking, all these are really bad for health. You should not absolutely indulge in these things. But then for a few people, that is how they are. Like for a lot of people, drinking coffee is kind of gives them energy. But then coffee is not good for health. We all know that. Not very good for health at times. So, well, we are
Yes,
not
ma'am.
talking
Yes,
about or
yes,
these are, this is about
Ma'am,
what I'm
Theo.
saying is your understanding, understanding of a particular situation, place, person, psychology, your beliefs. Suppose you are brought up in a family where certain rituals or you know, a কয়েকটা নিয়ম is very important, but for some people it doesn't matter, right? So it's, and we should respect each other's feelings. Like just because suppose somebody believes in waking up and bathing and doing a puja for a very long time, a person is religious, but I don't believe, say I don't believe in rituals or puja. So do you think I should stop respecting the fact that that person believes in that?
No, ma'am. We should respect each other.
Okay,
No, ma'am.
yeah. Similarly,
ম্যাম আপনি কি ফেস্টিভ্যালের কথা বলতে চেয়েছেন? ফেস্টিভ্যাল, পূজা
no,
ফেস্টিভ্যাল?
it can be festival also. All I'm saying is, suppose you're working with a client who is from say America. So probably their culture is different from our culture, right? Now, for example, they can they're religious too, but suppose they go to church, say, every Sunday morning, and you want to keep a call. Do you think you would go and tell him that, you know, forget about your church and come and sit in the call? Are you being compassionate enough? No, you're not. Forget about different culture. Even in India, for us, there are a lot of families, there are a lot of friends of yours who would believe that, who would love
American
cooking.
festival is Christmas.
Yes. There are many
Oh, okay.
festivals they celebrate. It's not only Christmas. Christmas is celebrated everywhere around the world. It's a global festival now. And
Yes,
I know
ma'am.
that in Kolkata also everybody celebrates.
Ma'am, I have a query.
Yes, please.
Ma'am, is there any difference between react and respond?
Yes, there is a huge difference. When you say, very good question, first of all. Reaction depends on your understanding, on your perceptions, on your belief system. Respond can just be simple. It doesn't need to show your perspective. Now, for example, you saw a very good friend of yours is with talking to somebody else something that is not in favor of you. Either you react very aggressively or you react very impulsively. মানে খুব বেশি react করে ফেলো, বা you stop talking. Right? That is reaction. Like according to your understanding, your belief system, you're doing. But respond is just about answering, that you just responded. Suppose a friend of yours spoke to you and you said, yeah, okay, I'll do that, or I won't do that. That is the difference. Are you getting me, all of you?
Yeah, ma'am.
Ma'am, your video.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So now I
Excuse me.
understand that you all have
Yes, ma'am.
understood the meaning, the cycle, communication cycle is clear with all of you.
And
Yes,
could you
ma'am.
please repeat it
Yes,
again
ma'am.
which was said before?
Now, see to this one. Let's see this slide. So now what are the barriers that we were just talking about? Okay, now the emotional barriers and taboos. What do you understand by taboos? কে বলতে পারবে taboo মানে কি?
I have no idea. Ma'am, I have no idea.
I have no
Okay.
idea.
Taboo is something like সবাই কথা বলছে but কেউ সামনাসামনি কথা বলছে না, মানে it is there in the society but nobody talks about it. Okay, a subject or a perspective that is running, that is there in the society but nobody talks openly about it. That is called a taboo. Now, for example, like drugs, alcohol. These are like the topics, you know, there are a lot of people who are into it, but we don't talk about it openly, right?
Yes,
So,
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
you know, or some things like the cultural things, like you don't want to discuss with everybody. There are many things like that in our life where we don't want to discuss few things. So those are taboo. Those are our taboo. Okay. So something emotional barriers, like a lot of your communication is affected because of your emotional barriers, right? Just now, like how I said, because of your understanding of something, you just stop communicating. Like, for example, you had an argument with your dad at home because he did not agree to something that you wanted or you believed. হয় কি না বাড়িতে এরকম অনেক সময় হয়, right? যে when you're trying to tell your dad that this is fine, মানে আমি এটা করতে পারি, এটাতে বাবা এটাতে কোনো অসুবিধা নেই, then he says no, you can't do that because he has his own belief system, you have your own belief system. And then ultimately what happens, like you said, oh, forget, I'm not going to tell him this. You don't talk to him. Emotional barriers. Am I right or wrong?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Right?
Yes, ma'am.
A friend of-
Yes, ma'am.
Suppose your girlfriend talks to you, doesn't call you when you want her to call. And you're like, okay, fine. What does she think of herself? I'm not going to call her anymore. Emotional barriers. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Then come, yeah. So these are the barriers that lead to. Then it is lack of attention, interest, distractions, or irrelevance to the receiver. Now, lack of attention, you understand, right? When you don't pay attention, you feel like it's okay not to listen. That's fine. Interest, suppose there's a topic you are not interested in, will you able to listen to that properly? A lot of women would not
No,
take
ma'am.
so much
No.
interest in share market, right? Ask me,
No,
if
ma'am.
somebody started talking about share market, I would just hear it, but I will not listen to it. Distractions, like for example, that you are sitting and talking to a friend of yours and you just saw a very nice food, biryani coming in. Don't you think that you're sometimes, if you're a foodie, you might just miss the information and focus on eating? হয়তো এরকম।
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So that's
Yes, ma'am.
irrelevant to this receiver, irrelevance to the receiver, something that you talk which is of no use to the receiver. You don't want to listen about it. Then comes the physical disability, such as hearing problem or speech difficulties. Now for us, for Indians, we Indians have different culture, different tone and accent. So at times, even in abroad, like if you see a British person speaking, you see an American person speaking, North America is different, South America is different. You see even Australian accent is different, African accent is different. So there can be speech difficulties, right? There can be a problem in understanding. Like we know that in Bengal, there is a lot of O used in your language, right? Washo, cow. So O, the sound is there. Similarly, with the South Indians, there is a lot of her sound with them. So, you know, those MTIs, those are called MTIs, like mother tongue influence. So we're going to work on all these things to make your communication perfect, if not perfect, best to your ability. তোমার হিসাবে সবচেয়ে best যেটা তুমি করতে পারবে, you have to refine yourself. So for that, you only have to help yourself. Okay, physical barriers to non-verbal communication. We'll come to that. Physical barriers can be the way of dressing up, the way you present yourself. Then is the language differences and the difficulty in understanding unfamiliar accents and use of jargons. Unfamiliar accents, right? So this is what I was telling you till now. Okay, then is one more important barrier is expectations and prejudices, which may lead to false assumptions or stereotyping. So what do you mean by prejudices? Can anybody tell me?
Prejudging without
Prejudices is,
listening to malpractices.
sorry, what practices?
Malpractices, ma'am.
Okay, prejudices is something that it has run in our society from ages. Somebody must have said, like, for example, that if a cat crosses the road, you should stop. It's being a big prejudice thing, right? How many of you believe in this?
No, ma'am.
superstitions.
No, ma'am.
There is no harm in believing in prejudices, to whom I just said that we need to respect the other person's, you know, the expectations. So here you grow an expectation. Suppose you know certain things, like in our culture, we generally remove our shoes and get inside the house, right? But in a lot of places, অনেক জায়গায় হয় না. So it might not be very acceptable in a lot of places. Suppose tomorrow you have a friend or a client of yours who is from some other part of the world. জুতো পরে বাড়িতে ঢুকছে ঘুরছে. Your mom might not like it, even if you like it, or you would say that okay, it's your friend. But your mom might not like it. Your family members might not like it, right? So there is these things in our society. So what we can do is, you cannot take them off. এগুলো তো বন্ধ করে দেওয়া যায় না. What you can do is, you can give the best in certain situations, right? Stereotyping. Anybody can. What is the meaning of stereotyping?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
বলো. False assumptions or stereotyping. Stereotyping is the same thought process. Stereotype একই ধরনের যেটা চলে এসছে, একই টাইপের
অ্যাকচুয়ালি জেনেরিক থটস যেটা আমাদের মধ্যে চলে
ম্যাম ওই থট টাইপ যেটা বলে আর কি.
Yeah, so you know, if sometimes what happens, like এক রকমের সোচ or the society যেভাবে রান করে, every society has their own rules and regulations. ওটার থেকে একটু ডিফারেন্ট হয়ে গেলে, people think that that's not right. So change is never acceptable. Like I can tell you, in US, if you are say you're driving, একটা গাড়ির থেকে আরেকটা গাড়ির difference should be almost, you know, one car difference. মানে মাঝখানে একটা কার থাকবে, অতটা difference হতে হবে. But do we follow the same rules here in India? I even see that even in a red light, everybody moves times. So যেটা হয়ে চলেছে, sometimes ওটাই ঠিক হয়ে যায়. So if you try to do so, that is called stereotype. Okay, so we need to work on our expectations, the prejudice thoughts, the false assumptions and stereotypes. And the last one, jeta I was discussing for so long, this is difference in perception and viewpoint. Difference in perception. Perception মানে যে তোমার নিজের belief, তোমার নিজে যেটা ভাবো, চিন্তাধারা তোমার. So that perception, তোমার viewpoint, যা তুমি বোঝো তাতে. And the cultural differences. There's a huge cultural difference, right? When you say a Gujarati would think all about money and how to get money, which is good as well as may not be good for some people. So that those are the things which are the barriers in your communication. So if you suppose these things, if it makes keeps in your mind, if you keep these things in your mind, you might tend to not have an interactive communication. You might not tend to have an effective communication. এই সব জিনিসগুলো যদি তোমার মাথায় থাকে, so what happens is you would not communicate properly. You have to understand every person is different and every person has their own way and right to think their way. সব মানুষ সবার থেকে আলাদা, সবার পছন্দ না পছন্দ is very different. So it's very important that you respect that part and say things which doesn't have any preconceived thoughts. Like আমি আগের থেকেই ভেবে নিলাম যে ও তো কিছু বুঝবে না এই নিয়ে, ওকে বুঝে কোনো লাভ নেই।
এটা কথা বলবো?
Yes.
ও তো মানুষ তো আলাদা না, মাইন্ড কনসেপ্ট আলাদা।
Yes, exactly. So the mind, how your mind works depends on your grooming, like where you have brought up, your culture, your backgrounds. Can you all hear me?
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So these are all important parts of why I'm saying these things, because all these things affects your communication cycle. We are not only talking about communication like I'm talking to you, you understood, this is fine. This is a small cycle. But when it comes to discussing, when you go to a group discussion, you'll have a lot of different people with different mindsets, different things. We'll come to that when we do group discussions. I'll come to see that how you people are perceiving, মানে কিভাবে টপিকটাকে নিচ্ছ, কিভাবে ওটাকে বুঝছো আর কিভাবে ওটাকে বোঝাচ্ছ। It's not about understanding, it's about exchanging the idea. তোমার যেটা সোচ, তোমার যেটা ভিউ পয়েন্ট, ওইটা তুমি অন্য কাউকে বোঝাচ্ছ। তার জন্য there should not be any there cannot be any preconceived thoughts, মানে আমি এটা বুঝছি মানে এটাই রাইট। You know, sometimes you tend to fight. অনেক সময় হয়, রাইট, তোমাদের একটা ঝগড়া হয়ে গেল যে আমি বিশ্বাস করি যে মোদি খুব ভালো বা ট্রাম্প খুব ভালো ছিল, ট্রাম্প ভালো ছিল না। There is always a good and bad, but how well you communicate your thought process to other person through your belief system, through your viewpoint, through your perceptions, যেটা তুমি বোঝো, যেটা তুমি বুঝেছো পড়ে, জেনে, দেখে। So that is communication. All I'm trying to say that rest of the things which is there in your mind should not be a barrier. মানে ওগুলো যে আছে should not affect your way of communication. Am I clear to all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. So are you all in your cameras? Do you all have your camera?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So you all can see each other, right? Because I can't see you all.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. The actually camera is off. Actually.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
No, ma'am. We can
Camera-
see only
camera-
your video, ma'am.
Yeah, I also can see only myself. Okay.
Yes,
So
okay.
actually, I wanted to do an activity with you about communication. So let's do one thing. Can anybody So do you all have a paper and a pen with you?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am. Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Maybe we'll do that
Yes,
paper.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Wait. Okay. So you all have a paper and paper with you all, right? All of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So who's going to take the initiative to instruct? So one person can you show me your communication? Who's going to take that initiative? I don't want to pick anybody. Kyo nijer theke bolo. I'm not going to make you do anything very difficult.
I can give a try, ma'am.
Okay, Shomadeep, right?
Yeah.
See, please bear with my Bengali. It's not very good, but
Yeah,
I'm
that's
going to
that's fine. Yeah.
I'm going to learn from you all, right? So, Shomadeep, what we are going to do is, so rest of you have your paper and pen in front of you, okay? So only Shomadeep
ma'am.
is going to talk, okay? So Shomadeep, what you're going to do is, you're going to first of all, take a paper and draw a picture with geometrical structures, okay, like a circle and then some rectangle in between, or a triangle inside the circle, then some rectangles outside the circle touching the edges. এরকম করে you have to describe a drawing which everybody else will do, but nobody is going to ask. So it's going to be one-way communication.
Ma'am, just like the comic
I need to
books.
do that, right? I need to do that, right?
Yeah, Shomadeep, you will only instruct. Okay, you will only instruct. Take your own. নিজের মতন করে instruct করবে. Don't like take some small little gaps. যেরকম করে একটা মানুষ draw করার সময় হতে পারে. You can just say till then, like say for example, you say, okay, everybody. So first, in the center of your thing, in your page, make a circle. And then make another circle outside the bigger circle, or you can just size something. You just have to instruct. I don't want to tell you how to instruct. And rest
Yeah,
of you, you're going to hear Shomadeep and just keep doing what he's saying. And once you're done, Shomadeep, you're going to tell me first. Okay?
Ma'am, where will draw them?
Sorry, so everybody else is ready?
Yeah, ma'am. Draw another circle.
Wait. Shomadeep, rest of you mute yourself, and only Shomadeep you will talk.
Okay, ma'am. All right. So everybody, I want you to take a paper and a pencil or a pen, whatever you have right now with you. And first, I want you to draw a triangle, like a more or less equilateral triangle. If you know that all the sides are same. I hope all of you are done with it.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
No, there cannot be a two-way communication. Nobody is going to talk. Shomadeep, you just have to carry on.
Okay. All right, ma'am. All right. Okay. So moving to the second figure, I want you to draw a square of all sides equal.
So Shomadeep, it's going to be one full drawing, okay? Something like the mandala art kind of a thing, right? I mean, using just the geometrical structures. When a circle, square, hena tena diye, you have to make a drawing. So you're going to instruct into that.
That would be difficult for me because I am very weak at drawing, ma'am.
It's not about drawing, it's about instructing. Try.
Okay,
It's not going to
okay, all right, all right. Okay, now I want you to, on the third figure, what you have to do, I want you all to put that square in the middle of the triangle so that each side of the square touches the triangle's lines actually.
Go ahead, Shomadev.
Yeah, and now finally what you have to do, in like you have drawn a triangle, then in the middle of that you have drawn the square, and now in that, like inside that you need to draw a cube. That's it, only a simple cube.
Are we done?
Okay, so I'm done. Yeah, I'm done.
So rest of you, you all are done?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know how should I tell you to
Yes,
show me
ma'am.
that. So did you all get a design? Hello? Did you all
Yes,
get
ma'am.
a design?
Yes, ma'am.
I wish I could see. I believe that everybody will have different designs, at least.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Right? All I wanted
Ma'am,
you
we
all
can
to
show this one by one.
I don't know whether we can show this. Is there a way we can actually share the
Ma'am,
things?
one by one we can show this.
Yeah, please do, please then. I can see, I don't know
Hello.
what is going on with mine.
Hello. Sudeep sir, are you there? Sudeep sir, are you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, Sudeep sir, please assist ma'am what she's wanting.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
So I just wanted to see, like, so we just did a small activity. So I can't see them, the drawing. If you can see, because I can't see anybody in the camera. So if you can see what each one of them came up with a drawing. Okay. So is the drawing all same or it's different?
Yes, yes. Ma'am, you also can see, you have to tap one view everyone.
Okay, let me see view. Yeah, it's I have done view,
And
but
then
camera
click on active cameras. And
view
those
active
students will
camera.
open the camera, you can see them. Yeah.
Yeah, view camera I did.
Yeah, so those students will open the camera, you can see them.
Okay, let's see.
Students, please turn on your camera. Students, please turn on your camera and your video mode. Students, তোমরা তোমাদের ক্যামেরাগুলো একটু অন করে দাও যাতে ম্যাম দেখতে পারেন।
Yeah. Now, can you show the? Oh, yes, I can now. So, can you all quickly, some of you, show the diagrams that you have made? Okay, this is one. Okay. 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 Yeah. Okay. Okay. Quite similar. Shayan Roy, and this is Ankur. Quite similar, but a little difference.
Yes, ma'am.
Then, okay, Samrat has different. Khalida, we can see yours. For Kostav, we can see yours. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Okay, good enough. So, but you see, there is still some differences in the drawings. Did you all see that? Did you all notice that?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So, here you will clearly understand that it was only Shomadeep who was talking, and rest of you just heard, you listened to what he said, understood about it, comprehended something in your mind, and finally did something, right? But it came up with different drawings, right or wrong?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, yeah. This is
Yes,
what I
ma'am.
was
Right.
trying to tell you all from the beginning when I was saying that there is a difference in understanding and comprehending. That is what I was trying to tell you. It happens the same way when you talk. This is what you have written, but it is the same way when you talk. You will figure out that how many differences are there, what kind of difference of thoughts, and that comes in your process of communication. And that we all have to reduce. Are you all ready to do that with me or not?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Good enough. So, so now today's takeaway in the class, what did you all understand? Quickly, tell me. First, we understood the communication cycle today. Complete
Yes.
communication cycle, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So, yes. Now tell me, what are the things that you understood in communication cycle today?
Ma'am, we have learned what is the proper cycle of communication and the barriers which affects communication.
Correct. What else? You understood the cycle, the barriers. Correct. We did
Ma'am,
discuss
what
a
is
little
and
bit
also
about.
what is the correct way to communicate?
Yes, we're going to talk about the medium that we did not do today, but probably the next class we'll do. That is our medium of communication. One is your verbal, vocal. So vocal we have not had. We'll have it in verbal, non-verbal, written. All these are the medium of communication. Okay. So we're going to talk about that in our next class. And right now what we did was about the one-way versus two-way communication. This was what the activity that we did, where Shomadeep only spoke and the rest of you were quiet. That was one-way communication. Had it been যদি এরকম হতো, I would have asked you all to have a two-way communication where you could ask. So you would ask Shomadeep, right? Like, is this okay? হয়ে গেছে, সার্কেলটা ভিতরে বানাবো, ট্রায়াঙ্গেলটা বাইরে বানাবো? So don't you think the picture would have been more accurate?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So what we did right now was a one-way communication. Only
Yes, ma'am.
I am talking and I don't know whether you are understanding what is, or I never figured out যে feedback নেইনি যে to figure out যে যেটা তুমি বোঝাতে চাইছো আমি সেটাই করলাম কিনা. So now you are understanding how all these factors are important when you're communicating. Okay, we did also talk about the common barriers নিয়ে কথা বলেছি. We spoke about barriers like যেখানে কোথায় listening skill এ কোথায় you have to take care, whether it is your background noise, whether it is your language perspective, whether it is your audibility. তোমার confidence level low হলে audibility automatically goes down. So all these factors we discussed. Even we spoke about the understanding factor, the cultural barriers, the differences in time and places. So this is all what we learned today, right, all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
communication
Okay.
cycle should be clear. I'm not going to go back tomorrow, but now what we learn has to be applied. So from now onwards, আমি যখন কথা বলবো, or when you are talking to me, we are going to take care of this cycle. We're going to talk similarly, because you have to inculcate, means you have to grow this habit inside you to understand the communication cycle. You're going to take care of this when you're talking. Right, all of you?
Yeah, ma'am. Yeah, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that's all for today. Next day, we're going to talk about verbal communication, non-verbal communication, and we're going to talk about the 7 C's of communication. Okay? And
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
thank you so much.
Yes,
All
ma'am.
so much.
Good communication, you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Communication, you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
স্টুডেন্টস প্লিজ সেটেল ডাউন। হ্যাঁ স্টুডেন্টস তোমরা শুনতে পাচ্ছ আমাকে? আমি তুহিন স্যার বলছিলাম।
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
আচ্ছা ওকে, আমরা তোমরা কি তোমাদের সিলেবাসটা এখনো পেয়েছো?
না স্যার।
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
No, sir. We didn't get it.
No, sir.
আচ্ছা আচ্ছা ওকে
No,
ওকে
sir.
স্যার পাইনি।
তো আমি তোমাদের গ্রুপে এক্ষুনি তোমাদের এই সিলেবাসটা আপলোড করে দিচ্ছি, ঠিক আছে? ইউ জাস্ট
Okay,
ফলো
sir.
দ্য
Okay,
সিলেবাস। তোমরা
স্যার গভর্নমেন্ট সিলেবাস।
সিলেবাসটা ভালো করে,
স্যার গভর্নমেন্ট।
Okay, sir.
the syllabus from our state council, clear?
Thank you, sir.
আমি এটা তোমাদের গ্রুপে, হ্যাঁ ওটা গ্রুপে পাঠিয়ে দিচ্ছি, আর তোমরা একটু দেখে নিও। আর I hope you all have enjoyed this class. I
Yes,
know
sir. Very
first
good.
of all, first time
Yes, sir.
it will be a little difficult
Yes,
for
sir.
you to
Yes,
understand
sir.
in English, but if you are habituated to do this, you will easily find a way. Okay, thank you so much students, thank you so much everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.